HARK, we are here. It is time for yet another episode of Regroup Phase. We have a small amount of previews today, a small amount of art, so this is going to be a shorter episode. I have a recap for some events that happened to me over the weekend. Also, it is hot AF right now and humid outside, so if I look disheveled, that's why. Anyway, without further ado, let's jump right into these previews. On Wednesday, August 21st, FFG showcased some premiere gameplay, constructed, whatever you specifically want to call it. And during that stream, as Xander likes to do, we got two previews that were part of that stream, and these are some interesting cards. So we're going to start off with this unit that is an iconic character that doesn't actually have that much screen time. We have here Aura Singh, Crackshot Sniper. She's a 7-cost aggression ground unit, 7 power, 6 health, Underworld Bounty Hunter, so a great continuation of traits from Shadows of the Galaxy, Overwhelm keyword. When an enemy ground unit attacks your base, ready this unit. This is number 166 out of 257, an uncommon in TWI. So this is kind of the like reverse Chewbacca situation. Rather than trying to be attacked, it's every time your opponent attacks into your base, you get to ready Aura and she can try to continue sniping people off. Obviously, at some point in time, she's going to be defeated if she keeps hitting other units, but it's an interesting control piece because you can play it as your first action for a round, and then your opponent has to decide, do I go full base attacks or do I go try to kill this thing first, sacrificing some units, or if you just Rivals Fall it, then okay, whatever. But I do think that this is an interesting card that's going to present some interesting gameplay, much like Chewie did in set 1. We'll have to see if that makes any impact. Another Bounty Hunter in aggression is actually very good for that strategy from set 2. Bosk likes aggression bounty hunters because they fit within his aspect combination without having to go further into a base. So right off the bat, I think this is actually going to be a very good card for that deck because it is able to help snipe those bounties and continue putting pressure onto your opponent's base. Yes, it's late game, but you never know what happens when you can fit some of your bounties together or other cards that allow you to at least stave your opponent off until it's time to actually drop Aura Singh herself. So happy to see her in this set. Hopefully more. Our next card is yet another villainy event that does some crazy things. It seems like FFG is determined to give us one of these every single set, so we'll have to see what happens with sets 4, 5, and 6. But set 3's version of a command villainy event that is very powerful. We have Consolidation of Power. This is a 6-cost command villainy plan event. Choose any number of friendly units. You may play a unit from your hand if its cost is less than or equal to the combined power of the chosen units for free. Then defeat the chosen units. This is a rare number 89 out of 257 in TWI, and this is another one of those, once you get to 6, you just pop off with whatever you want. Palpatine's Return allows you to take one of your units from the discard pile and put it into play for free. As a 6 cost or less, it technically costs 6 less. If it's a Force unit, it's 8 less. And then obviously in our first set, Overwhelming Barrage for 5 basically deletes your opponent's board and does a lot of cool stuff. Consolidation of Power is more, I'm going to go ahead and take all these little units that either taken a bunch of damage or are no longer useful to me or haven't done anything for me for the turn, and then be able to put out something that is absolutely huge. This is one of those things that gets exponentially better the more that units that have low cost have high power as long as they can stay on the board. If you can get 3 units with 3 power each to stay on the board so that you can play this on 6, you have a 9-cost unit that comes into play for 6. And that's a great 3-cost reduction. You can go even higher than that. You can start dropping Devastators and Finalizers on 6 as long as you have the combination of power that is equal to or less than the cost of the unit that you're playing. And this can get even better the bigger units that we have to be able to deal with. So I am not particularly happy seeing Villainy get a lot of these types of cards. I think that while U-Wing Reinforcement is an absolutely insane card and very good for Command Heroism doesn't seem to be getting the same level of treatment as Command Villainy is with a lot of its cards that are available. The 2 leaders that were Command Heroism in Shadows of the Galaxy were underwhelming, to say the least. A lot of people were really excited for the Daimyo Boba, and a lot of people were really excited for Hunter, but as it stands currently in the greater portion of the competitive meta, but even in casual environments, those decks just don't have the power to be able to really push things. Whereas there are a lot of choices for command villainy leaders that are very good currently and will continue to be good through the future of the game. So Consolidation of Power, just another really good command villainy card. Hopefully we can get some other heroism cards that end up being just as good as something like this moving forward. Next up, we have 2 pieces of art that come by way of the FFG Twitter account and social medias, depending on what you specifically want to call it. Doesn't matter. 2 pieces of art, really cool stuff here. we're going to get started with this lovely piece here that is Ahsoka defending the Jedi training children who are here with Huyang in order to be able to learn how to craft their lightsabers. I actually really hope that we do get a Huyang card in here in this set at some point in time, or in the very not distant future. Great character, love him. Voiced by David Tennant, can't go wrong. Ahsoka snips, as it were, defending the kids here with her lightsabers that she has been using. Very interesting image here, very great art. I imagine this is going to be one of those things where it's either an upgrade or an event. An upgrade, this could just be similar to Protector, where it's just maybe even an either aggression or a command styled version of that upgrade, but who knows, could just be an event that allows you to defend, I don't know, give Sentinel for a turn. Who knows? Great art regardless. Next piece, we have here the Rule of Two. Sidious with his apprentice Maul, straight from the Phantom Menace. Very interesting card. This is another one of those ones that could be an interesting combination thereof. I imagine it was going to be an event that might even just be titled the Rule of Two, that will give you a benefit based upon having only 2 Sith characters on the board. If a theme deck comes out that allows you to pull that off, that's going to be really cool. That was one of the decks that I was pushing for to try to actually have an actual realization of that in the original Decipher card game when the Players Committee was coming up with ideas for their decks. It never took. People didn't like it. Whatever. But hopefully maybe Star Wars Unlimited could do something cool, something that deals with your leader and a beefy unit that's able to just try to control the board as best as possible. Really hard in a game like this where you do need as many units as you do to survive. But I mean, Iden and Invader were able to kind of just solo the board for a while in the first set with that lockdown style deck of vigilance and aggression. So maybe we could get something cool out of that with this. That's just 2 pieces of art this week. We've got more pieces. I've already seen one of next week's art pieces that we'll cover next week. But as it stands, that Rule of Two piece is so good. So good. Like I said, this is a shorter video this week, ultimately because I didn't really have the time to be able to come up with something that might have been like a deck list to throw out, or an idea, or a core. We used to do some different types of things with Spark of the Rebellion before we moved into kind of the This Is the Way style content creation for Shadows of the Galaxy. Still adjusting what that might look like for set 3. Definitely going to make some changes to that. But the big thing for me is that I ended up working a convention called 2DCon in my local area. It was very fun. There was a local event as part of that for Star Wars Unlimited. There was only 4 players, so it wasn't that huge of a deal. But I did end up actually being able to go 3-0 across the day, beating all 3 of the other players on decks, which were Han 2 Vigilance, Boba 1 Command, and Gar Saxon Command. Honestly, all 3 sets of games were very interesting for me to play against. They were all players of varying levels of skill, but the decks themselves were all very good and well-constructed decks. There was one instance of an issue of an aspect penalty not remembered for playing the card, but we were able to roll that back and didn't have any issues. But ultimately, I had a lot of fun doing that, and I was very surprised that I ended up winning as many games as I did, because I was playing my This Is the Way Mando aggression deck, which I was not expecting to perform as well as it did. So in the next episode of This Is the Way, I'll describe a couple of the interactions that I found that have been very interesting for the deck, and how I think maybe this version of the cunning, aggressive aggression deck can really push through wins in ways that your opponents aren't expecting, especially using all of your attacks matters style cards. So that's it for this week. Like I said, shorter video, didn't really have much to go over. I wasn't able to go over the stream, and I needed to get this video out and have it ready for its Tuesday release date. So hopefully next week I'll be able to do some more stuff. I do have a work interview coming up, so things might change on the channel. I do want to make sure that I get at least 1 video out a week, but for now, we're just going to focus on what's directly ahead of us, which is the next week, as we get hopefully some more previews for Shadows of the Galaxy. Like I said, already seen 1 piece of art, which is absolutely incredible. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for joining me, everybody. I appreciate each and every one of you. Remember to like and comment on this video. Subscribe to this Star Wars Unlimited channel for all of your Star Wars Unlimited needs. I will be going on vacation here in a couple of weeks, so I'll try to make sure that I have at least 1 deck build guide, quote unquote, for you while I'm gone, and you won't be able to see the traditional previews videos, but all of that will be bundled once I come back, and we'll be right back into the flow of things when I return. So thank you very much, folks. Have a great week. Have a great day. And with that, I will see you in the stars.